Hello builders, and welcome back to the World Zoo Project, the giant zoo where I built a habitat for every animal in the game. And it's a big zoo, isn't it? Just look at it. Anyways, in today's video, it won't be any specific animal around the Critter Campground. The Critter Campground, of course, being an area that was comprised of a bunch of DLC animals from the Americas pack that added a bunch of North and South American animals. And of course I had to build this area since North and South America were already well built in the zoo and I couldn't fit new animals in. So thus the Critter Campground was born. So this video, we already have all those videos out for all the... But I've already had all those videos released on the channel for all those lovely animals. So today's video, like I said before, is just a bit of a touch-up where I will be adding a bit of the setting. Where I will be adding in some set pieces, building a couple cabins, a little camping area for guests to sleep at, as well as a few other little things here and there, as you will soon see. So if you end up enjoying this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those YouTuber thingies, as I'm sure it will help the channel grow. Or check out the description to come join me on Twitch or download the zoo yourself. Now, let's get into the building now, shall we? Now, unfortunately, I didn't end up recording me actually doing a lot of the terrain editing for this section of the zoo, so you don't get to see me excavating this huge lake that I have planned for the middle of the entire area. So we'll just jump into it and start building this small pond I have up above the lake with this tiered waterfall that will feed the entire water system. The idea behind this small pond at the top is that guests will be able to enjoy a little swim in it while they are staying here at the zoo's campground. While I'm sure guests, if they want to, can swim in the large lake down below, some of those who may not be strong swimmers will probably want to prefer swimming up here in this tiny pond, such as kids and maybe their parents. Plus, it's a lot more relaxing, there's less boats running around, and it's just more going to be a chill time up here. And if there's anything I approve of, it's just having a nice relaxing time. After all, why do you think I love just building? So as you can see, once all the water is in place, it's time to just add in all the rocks, and then from there we will start decorating. We'll just start by adding in a few of these discs of soil, and then again adding in some rocks underneath them, making the whole thing look like a natural pond. Once we have this strong rock foundation in, we can start adding in all of the plants, and then really just bring this thing to life, as you will soon see. But first, we just gotta get all of those details in. After all, it wouldn't be one of my builds without me going crazy with rocks all over the place. After all, it's in the name of the channel. I do love my stones and my rocks. Probably why like 90% of this zoo is nothing but rocks. Now, while I was building this, I decided we should probably have a pier so people can just jump off into it, or just sit and dangle their feet in the water if they wanted to. And while I was building that, I realized, you know what, let's just copy that whole design and bring it down here and add some boats for the main lake. But we'll come back to that later. I just wanted to quickly throw that in there as a reminder for myself of what I want to build. Now, back up here, it wouldn't be a fun little pond without a diving board. So I just create a platform in the middle of the pond that people can swim out to and just jump in. Now, when doing raised up water, you always have to have these glass panels in to prevent the water from flowing out. But that kind of defeats the purpose of my natural look, so I have to cover them up by adding in just a few logs here and there. Plus the logs make the whole thing look more natural, so it really is just a great barrier, and you barely see the glass afterwards. Now with all that foundation in, it's time to start turning this whole thing green. We'll start by adding a few couple trees, but then I quickly shift into getting the moss in first. Once all that beautiful moss is in, I will then shift back to working on all the trees, bushes, and grasses. Having just a little bit more fun, I just create a few random floaties in here and give them a bit of colors. After that, I asked chat for a name for this area and they decided to come up with the name Tall Falls. So thank you Origin TT for coming up with that name. After all, it is a very tall waterfall, so it's very on the nose there. Special shout out to Origin, who has been a big part of the channel and has helped me name many of the habitats in this zoo and in many of my other building projects and other games. So thanks Origin for always being there. Next, with the lake complete, it's time to start building our first main facilities where guests can come and stay at the zoo. Well, okay, maybe not first. There's actually an inn in our European area and a large hotel in our African section, but this will be the first facilities at the Critter Campground. And while most of it will be a lot of camping, I wanted to give some high-end guests who really want to splurge for money that they can rent for a couple days if they want. Of course, these are going to be more high-end, as we'll only be building 6 of them in here, so I imagine if this was a real zoo, that the wait line to get these would probably be pretty long, and the price tag would be pretty high. But still, I think it would be worth it. After all, this is a huge zoo, and I would absolutely love being able to spend a few days here. Throughout the design of this building, I do change things up ever so slightly as I go about, but that is pretty typical for my designs, as I usually go in with a blank slate, and I just kind of start building and just seeing what works. In some cases, things just don't work, so it's okay to change them. For instance, I really like the window I came up with, but just wasn't really feeling it for the entrance of the building, so I decided to copy and paste the window up top and then delete it from there and just come up with a new build. Now I ended up editing out all the different versions I came up with out of the video, so you just see the end result. I went with this Indian style building piece and colored it brown to match the wood in the building and added just a few extra logs to it. Speaking of logs, those big chunky logs that are in the corners end up coming out as well, as after staring them for a while I just wasn't too happy with them, so I ended up replacing them with some more thinner beams. On occasion I might build something from an actual image I find online, but most of the time I will usually just wing it as I go, with just a vague idea of notion of what I want to look like. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I like to think that this building worked out, but let me know in the comments down below what you think of the cabin. Either way, I was happy enough to just replicate it and just start working on it from there. Now, I'm going to do some skips every now and then throughout this video as I just did. This way, you don't have to see me do the rock work. I know everyone loves rock work as much as I do, but this video is already pretty long, so we're going to skip some of the rock work in this video and just get on to doing the actual buildings. And going on about what I'm building right now, as you can see, I'm giving each of these buildings their own little yard and a little walkway attaching to the path. It was a little bit more difficult planning this out, as of course this path was on a hill, but I came up with a nice solution of adding in the stairways and those little cobblestone paths. After that, all that's left to do is just quickly add in some plants and greenery just to brighten it up a little bit. After all, this whole zoo is built on nature, and what would guests think if we just didn't have all these plants and flowers around our cabins? Next up, if guests are going to be staying here, we need to have a few amenities set up for them, as well as a staff area. As you can see, all the staff buildings in the back, they quickly get covered up by the mountainside, so we won't worry about them too much. But the front half will have a doorway so that the keepers and staff can get back there, as well as a few stores for some shopping for the guests. I will also be setting up an information center for them as well. I like to imagine that the information center will supply guests all they need for their camping, and also probably where they would pick up the keys for the cabins, or maybe a direction to which tent they have reserved. And we will be building those tents a little bit later in the video, so stay tuned for that, because certainly they are my favorite part of the Critter Campgrounds. Just reminding me of when I went camping as a kid and just roaming around the woods. A real nostalgia area for me. Though personally, I don't like camping anymore. As I grew up, I kind of grew out of it, but certainly as a kid, I did love it. So I tried to capture that feeling with it. And like we did with the cabins, the back half of these structures are just going to be comprised of rocks and built into the side of the mountain. That way they fully link into the barrier that goes around this entire section. This is something I do in all my sections of this giant zoo. Every area of the zoo has a large barrier around it. That way guests, when they enter, do not see any other sections of the zoo, and they feel like they are in their own little biomes. Besides, having the barriers also gives me a good backdrop for many habitats, or in this case, a backdrop to this little village we're building. That way it helps fill up the space for what would otherwise be a boring old rock wall. Oh no, what am I saying? Rocks are never boring. Rocks are amazing. What can I say? I love rocks. Although maybe sometimes I do use rocks a little too much. I thought if there was an easy way to really go about this entire zoo and just count how many rocks I put in, I would have done it. But I definitely don't got that kind of time. But maybe you do. Feel free to download this zoo and painstakingly delete everything but the rocks and then give me a final count of what is left in there. I would love to see how many rocks I've put down in the zoo. Or better yet, don't do any of that. Just download the zoo from the workshop and just explore and have fun. And now, of course, we need to feed our campers. So I bring in a few food trucks, staff them, and give them a quick round of coloring to match the branding. We have all the favorites that you love when you're camping. We got some hot dogs, some burgers, even some ice cream, some juice, some soda, and of course some bottles of water for those who want to be a little more healthy. And if of course there was a way to put marshmallows in the game, you can be damn sure that I'd be doing that. Also, I like to imagine that we would be giving people some raw hot dogs and some sticks so they can cook the hot dogs themselves on these fires. After all, it wouldn't be camping without a little bit of fire cooking. And here is just a quick mini tip for you. If you have multiple paths overlaying on top of each other and you think that they look a little weird, just add a little barrier between them, even if it's just a simple wooden beam as I'm doing, or maybe some rocks. It will just help break up that straight line and make it look a little bit better. With all of the cabins and the food trucks and the little stores in place for this corner of the career campground, it's time just to add in some quick decorations. All the little things that you tend to forget about that you need to put down in your zoos, such as benches and garbage cans and all those tiny little side decorations. Of course, we can't forget about all the precious little condiments going on the tables as well. We could just pretend there's ketchup, mustard, relish, and some other random things that people might want to put on their food. And while I was thinking about condiments, my brain went in a weird direction and just pivoted and going into thinking that dock just needs a cover on it, just to complete the look for this corner. Why my brain decided to make that jump, who knows? It's just the weird inner machinations of your buddy Stone. And because 3 cabins were enough, I decided to just copy and paste the cabins over one more time, give them a quick color change so each one has a unique color, and then come in and add in a small lawn and some grass and trees for this side as well. Though not as big of a lawn as the ones we have up on the hill, since they don't have as much space at this time around. I can still get in all that lovely detail and just make this look like it's all part of the wilderness. And because I don't like having any empty space in my zoo, whenever I try, I just fill in all these little bits with some random decorations. In this case, I am just using a couple of logs just to create a garden centerpiece where I will place in some soil and then fill in the space with some trees and some flowers and such. And in my classic style, I momentarily get distracted and start putting trees up on the hills instead of working on what I was actually planning to work on. But you know, that's me in a nutshell. I see something pretty and just start working and moving all over the place. Wonder I managed to get anything done in the first place. Leaving the cabins and village behind, we now come into a little bit more of a remote area where I create a campground filled with tents and everything. So I use a bunch of the tent pieces that came in with one of the updates. And as you'll see, I have one of the base game tents off the side there, but that wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to create something new and bigger. So I just use that as a quick template to work from while I create the new tent, equipped with an interior filled with boxes and sleeping bags and everything that people can roll out and have fun with. That way when you come to the zoo, you don't really need to bring anything other than maybe a change of clothes. Although this boring old white won't stay for long, eventually what I end up doing is copying and pasting this tent in all over the place, while also changing the color scheme for each tent. That way every one of them is a little bit unique. So after a quick copy paste, I can then start planning out the rest of the campground. And fear not, I'm not going to make you watch me color every one of those individually. With the power editing, boom, they're all a rainbow of tents in an instant. Now what we can really focus on is planning out the area. I use this one campsite as a real template to start working on the rest of them. Although, like I said earlier, I get easily distracted. And while I was doing that, I realized, you know what we need? We need a place to put some firewood. So I quickly come off the side and build this quick container where we can keep firewood stored and people can come and grab it to feed their fires and get that real campground experience. It's been a long time since I've personally been camping, but I remember as a kid, there was a large container very similar to this set up wherever they, of course, kept firewood for people to come and grab. So this is what, of course, inspired it. Does every campground have that? I don't know. I've only been camping a few times in my life when I was younger, although back then I was just a small pebble and not the big old stone I am now. So let me know if you've ever been to actual campsites and if they have something similar set up for you. Okay, pulling myself away from that distraction, let's get back to decorating this campsite template. We just put a bundle of sticks there to get ready, give it a once over and think, you know what, this looks good, let's get going. So we'll give this a quick skip over to me finishing off all the pathing, and after that I give this a quick copy paste of all the previous object from the master template, and then we are good to go. So let's give this a quick skip over, you don't need to see me do all that again. But even after all that, the template wasn't perfect. I had to go in and add in a few extra adjustments, such as these canopies, and then give every campsite a little bundle of sticks. That way they have something ready to go when they first get there to get the fires going. From there, I start working on the environment around the campsites, starting off with putting these docks in, as I want to have a beach behind for the guests to rest on if they want to lay in the sand. And there might be a little Easter egg down here. As you can probably see that big hole in the lake, I decided to put something a little fun in there. A little reference to an old show. Now if you can see these three objects and can tell me what that looks like, let me know. It's a blink and you miss it. You might have to look back at the video to have a real long think of it. But if you figure it out, let me know in the comments and I'll give you a shout out in the next video. Now trying to add in a little bit of separation amongst all the campgrounds, I start using the natural logs as barriers as well as a few RAM fences and rocks just to mix it up. Once that's complete, it's time to really get into the environment. I'll be using these living walls as flooring just as a template, and around there we'll start putting in moss and rocks all around it, blending them in so they're not just big old squares. So it's time to sit back, relax, and just listen to some lovely Planet Zoo music while we chill out and do some lovely environmental work. There, just like that, a lovely little forest is born. Now, I have to apologize. I was really hoping to put in more into this video, even though it is already pretty long. There's quite a few parts of this build that I just didn't end up recording, or at the worst, I lost the recordings. Who knows what happened to them. I scoured through my hard drives and I couldn't find any of the other recordings. There was a lovely beach that we ended up building right across from the village, as well as some other environmental factors. I tried looking through all my videos, couldn't find them, and unfortunately they are just lost to time. But that's right, you'll see some of it in the end cinematic route. And again, if you want, you can download this zoo and check it out yourself. Or hang tight, as I am doing a walking tour through every section of my zoo, and I will eventually get around to this section. Even though that might be still a little ways away, as after all, I do have a full-time job, and editing these videos does take time. But in the meantime, if you like this video and you want to wait, make sure to subscribe, as I'm sure you'll be notified when I upload a video. Or like, comment, or ding that bell, I guess. I don't know, people do those things right on YouTube. I suppose it all helps to grow the channel. After all, apparently I've been getting more views on my channel lately than ever. I don't know what caused it, but I'm welcoming the growth. And again, welcome to all the new people. If you end up just stumbling upon this video for the first time, and you like Planet Zoo, or like little builds or chill times, feel free to check out my other videos. Or, if you really want, come check me out on Twitch, where I'm playing a lot of other building games. Of course, I'm not playing a lot of Planet Zoo anymore. As I've said before, I completed what I was had to do. I built a giant zoo with every animal in the game. There wasn't much more for me to do in Planet Zoo, so I've moved on to a few other building games. But I am guaranteed to have a nice chill environment. Unless, of course, I'm playing a multiplayer game with some friends, then things get a little unhinged, but don't worry about that. Anyways, I feel like I'm rambling, so let's just end the video here and go into a cinematic route tour for the end. So builders, I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Have a good one, and goodbye!